As you probably know, Prabhupada very early on in the movement asked his disciples to become spiritual masters. And part of the idea was, as Prabhupada said, I am one man. Look what I have done, one man. Look what we can do, so many thousands of men. But underneath this idea of one man, how much can I do, was Prabhupada's feeling that alone he could do very little, and he was very dependent on his disciples. And he said, I'm an old man, my time is coming close. You're a young man, you have a whole life ahead of you. You can do so much. What I could do is very limited. I started it. And there are so many incidents in which we could see Prabhupada's dependence on his disciples, specifically to publish and distribute his books. Right from the very, very beginning, he was very dependent on transcribers, editors, proofreaders, and the people who would lay out and print his books. He required those people. And he expressed his dependence and need and thankfulness on those people who were helping him in this most important service, which was his main service. And so we as disciples or grand disciples tend to think philosophically about this, that he's an empowered acharya, that he doesn't need us and he can do everything himself. But interestingly, he never expressed that I am an empowered acharya, I don't need you. He actually expressed the opposite. I very much need you to help me spread this Krishna consciousness movement. And he expressed that idea over and over again. So how do we understand that? Because we don't feel especially qualified, and we feel that everything is dependent on Srila Prabhupada, which is true. But Prabhupada is referring to the practical execution of the services that are necessary for spreading Krishna consciousness. He is one man. What can one man do? One man needs many hands to help him. So we understand the empowerment, the inspiration, the guidance, everything that makes us successful on the spiritual level is coming through Prabhupada's mercy, that we could not be spiritually successful without it. At the same time, we have to understand that Prabhupada depends on us. We shouldn't think, well, it's all going to happen. Lord Chaitanya said, every town and village. So what does it matter what I do, how little I do, or how much I do, because it's all going to happen, and Srila Prabhupada really doesn't need me. In a sense, that's true. He doesn't need us. Someone else will come and replace us and do what we could have done. But then he depends on that someone else. He needs that someone else. So in that sense, he doesn't need us, but in this other sense, he needs hands to do the work. That's how things work in this world. Physically, it has to be done. And so I just wanted to make the point that Prabhupada expressed this over and over and over again. I couldn't do this on my own. Many months ago, in another daily video, I made the point that movements cannot spread unless there are early adopters. There has to be people who adopt the practices and the philosophy and then who go out and spread it and share it. If no one adopted Krishna consciousness, if Prabhupada just came to New York and nobody took it up, there would be no one to spread it. It would just be Prabhupada trying to get people to take it up, trying to get people to go out to different cities and share it. And fortunately, that's what happened. So we are indebted to those first devotees who took it up, and those devotees who went around the world to spread Krishna consciousness, and all the devotees who opened temples. We're indebted to them, because if they didn't do that, Krishna consciousness would not have spread. So from that very practical perspective, we see how dependent Prabhupada was on his disciples. He asked us, open 108 temples. He told us, distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. He depended on us to do that. And now you can say ultimately Krishna did everything because Krishna sent all the disciples, all the resources, the money, the facility, the temples, because he's a pure devotee. Yes, that's the other side of the equation. We understand that. But I think it's important to understand this side of the equation, that Prabhupada was dependent on boots on the ground. And we are the boots on the ground. And we can never think otherwise. This is what we have to do. We are taking this movement forward as one soldier on the ground that Prabhupada's dependent on, and he's dependent on all of us. And don't ever think that your service is not valuable. Don't ever think that Prabhupada's not depending on you. He needs us to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Now, if we don't do it, as I said, Krishna will send someone else. And Prabhupada said that. But it's better that we think, I am that someone else that should do this service. I can see this service is needed. I can see this as a service to Prabhupada. I can see Prabhupada needs my help. So we have to allow ourselves to be in this mood that Prabhupada needs my help, although everything that I have is coming from him. It's a reciprocal relationship. He gives me so much energy, knowledge, inspiration, enthusiasm, and I pay it back to him, or you could say pay it forward to others at the same time by sharing it. And that was Prabhupada's request to us. If you love me, if you want to show love, then preach like I'm preaching, distribute books, give it forward, do what I'm doing, do what I came to do, spread the mission that I came to do. And like myself, personally, I deal with many, many problems in our movement. And I always feel obligated to Prabhupada that this is what he would want me to do, because he started this movement and now we have to sort out the problems and we have to do things as best we can. And that's how I like to pay Prabhupada back for what he has given me, that I'm there, I see a problem, I can do something, I'm boots on the ground, I can do something for Prabhupada's service. So I think we should all think this way. It's very, very important. We are, yes, helpless, at the same time helpful to Srila Prabhupada's mission.